Have you also been sitting all day?
Yes, I have.
Sure, please. You are allowed to stand.
This is Christopher Wehkamp, and we're going to start our interview right now. Who would like to ask the first question? Miss Deirdre, you haven't done one yet. Would you like to be first, or do you want to make Mr. Allen do it?
I can do it, actually. Yeah.
Okay, here you go, Mr. Allen. You can start.
Hey, my name is Alan. So I know you've done work on the Dragon Ball franchise, and there's like a bunch out there. There's Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball. What would you say is your personal favorite out of the franchise?
Yeah, okay. So what's my favorite part of the Dragon Ball franchise? That's really hard to choose, but I would say, maybe because I got to be a part of it, I really love Dragon Ball Super. I love the fact that it sort of expands the world and we get to meet all these fighters from different universes. My character, Majira, was a blind fennec fox fighter and lost very terribly to Krillin by Krillin throwing his stinky shoe on his nose. And so maybe not my claim to fame, but it was really cool to be a part of the Dragon Ball Super universe. And yeah, Dragon Ball's got such an amazing history. Love that show a lot.
All right, who wants to be next? You want to go next? Oh, you're not Miss Deirdre?
Please first.
Hey,
Hi.
after voicing in My Heroes 1 Justice 2, did you end up playing the game, and if so, who did you end up maining?
Okay, yeah. So the question is, did I after voicing in My Hero Academia Once Justice 2, have I played it, and who do I main? So I'm a Twitch streamer. You guys can follow me on Twitch, Real Chris Wehkamp, and I do play that game from time to time. I played it a lot, especially during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's kind of right when it came out with the voice pack and everything. So my deal is, if you come play me on stream, I'll always be Aizawa. That's who I voice in My Hero. So I won't ever play as anybody else. So as long as you can use somebody who uses a lot of long distance attacks, you've got a really good chance of beating me, because Aizawa's a really close-up fighter in the game and in the show as well. So yeah, I love playing as Aizawa, and it's a lot of fun.
Mr. Q?
How has anime affected your life?
Yeah, so how has anime affected my life? Wow, that's, like looking back, it's been just about 12 years since I started voicing in anime and video games. And prior to that, I was a stage actor. I did a lot of commercials, both on TV and radio commercials, things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, getting a chance to voice some of these characters in these franchises has been amazing. I guess the biggest way it's changed my life is now I get to come to these shows and hang out with you guys. And traveling around the country, getting to meet the fandom is really, really fun and such an exciting part of my job. The other part of my job is I stand in a recording booth by myself and just say lines over and over again. So this is way preferable to that. Although I love voice acting, but coming to meet the fans, seeing what these shows really mean to them, especially during the last couple years, it's been a really tough time. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have told me about personal stories of how My Hero has pulled them through, some really tough times. And so getting to be a part of that is such a blessing, such a gift, and I just feel really lucky.
Can I do one?
Sure.
Oh, I just want to ask one, because we've asked everybody that's come in here, and so I really like hearing this.
Sure.
Which is, what advice do you have for people who would like to get into the voice acting industry? Okay,
yeah, so advice for people who want to be voice actors. Be an actor, and that's the basic advice. But, because voice acting, it's just acting. It's just sort of acting with your hands tied behind your back. I started out on the stage. There's a lot of people who start with musical theater. Many of my peers now have come through like YouTube, and have YouTube channels, YouTube personas, and so there's not just one way in. But I will say it's incredibly competitive, but that's because it's so much fun, and so if you're in it for the right reasons, if you're passionate, if you want to be a storyteller, if you want to bring these characters to life, then go after it. And just know that most of the people who try to do this will quit. So if you just stick with it and you just don't give up, there really is a place for everybody in this industry.
Oh, cool. Mr. Allen, it's your turn now, sir.
My bad.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Hey, so speaking of My Hero, aside from your character, what quirk would you want to have if you had a superpower?
Oh man, what quirk would I want to have if I could have any superpower? That's a tough one. So not just from the My Hero fandom, right? Just any superpower at all?
Let's do My Hero first, and then.
Okay, that narrows it
Yeah,
down a little
yeah,
bit.
narrows
Okay,
it down.
so yeah, I mean, I think my standard answer for this is that I would love to be able to never have to go to an airport again. That would be great.
Yes.
And so it'd be great to be able to just teleport everywhere. I'm going to be at Indy PopCon in Indianapolis next weekend, and I would love to just snap my fingers and just be there next week when I'm supposed to be. You know, airports do their best, but it's such a beating going through security and all that. So, yeah, I would love to just teleport. That'd be great. I would go to Japan also. I would love to take my family to Japan to visit. I've never been. That's on my bucket list for sure. And maybe even for real superpowers, that would be the one I would choose. So just, I would love to teleport. That'd be great.
Next question?
I was going to ask, what advice would you have for people that want to get into streaming?
To get into streaming. Okay, so advice for people getting into streaming. Best advice I can give you is start 2 years ago. But if you can't do that, then start today. Yeah, it was weird. I got into streaming, you know, during the height of the pandemic, really, the summer of 2020. I was locked at home and I was just lonely, you know, like I'm a performer, so I want to be performing, and I really didn't have an outlet anymore. Just stuck at home in my home studio, and it was like, you know, I'm just going to check this Twitch thing out. And then it turns out the Venn diagram of people who are on Twitch that love anime is just a circle. Like, it's like amazing how many anime fans are on Twitch. So very quickly just dug into it. I was doing it 3 nights a week. The best thing I can tell you is consistency. Don't start off. I think a mistake some people make is they're like, I'm going to start off and just play every kind of game that I want. Like, experiment a little bit, but then once you've done that a bit, zero in on a game that you really enjoy, and then be consistent with it. So that if there's people out there playing Elden Ring, and they really want to watch somebody who plays Elden Ring, don't just suddenly start playing Cuphead, you know, just because you like got bored or whatever. Like, stick with Elden Ring for a while, you know, give it some time. And let your personality shine through, because at the end of the day, I think anybody can watch somebody play a video game, but what they really want is they want to be a part of a community, or they want to hang out with you, you know. So make it fun and be yourself, and be consistent.
Next question? Mr. Q?
Do you have any favorite lines from the voiceover work you've done?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the one that comes to mind. So, favorite voiceover lines from the work I've done. The one that I typically do when people ask for an Aizawa line is, he has one line that he does in almost every episode that he shows up in, and it's this. He's constantly tired, he's constantly over it, he's constantly exhausted by his kids that he has to take care of. That's sort of like his entire mood, which is why he resonates with so many people, I think. I am also a dad, I am also constantly tired, so I very much relate to him as well. But yeah, that's the one I get to do a lot.
I know you did some work with Initial D, so I was wondering if you've seen the Taiwanese live action of that.
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay, well, if you haven't, is there a live action like of an anime that you like, that you enjoyed watching?
Yeah, okay, so yeah, a live action of an anime that I enjoyed. So I'm in a series called Space Battleship Yamato, 2199 and 2202. And this came out, you know, it's almost been a decade now since it came out. We actually dubbed it back in like 2016, 2017. And the animation, I'm a big nerd when it comes to sci-fi. Like, I love space battles. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I was just hooked by this show right away. So I was kind of just consuming everything about it. And I did find there's a actually really good live action version of Space Battleship Yamato. And so I did watch that. I was impressed by it. They had a budget for the CGI, so the CGI is like not terrible. Also, it's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I would say that'd be one to check out if you're into space battles and you like Star Wars. That'd be a good one.
We got one more question. Who wants to be my winner? You, Ms. Pedro, since you're new, you get to
Okay,
be
thank
the
you.
last one.
Do you have any moments that made you say "what the fuck" in the middle of a script reading?
Yes.
Can you share?
Yeah. Did I ever have any WTF moments while I was in the middle of doing this job? Yeah. I mean, I've played all kinds of different characters. So for example, very recently there's a show called Spy Family, and we're doing the dub of that at Crunchyroll. I got cast as a guy his name is Swan, and he's basically like the head of the school, one of the heads of the school. And during the interview process with little Anya, he decides he's just going to ruin her life. And he's terrible. And so I'm going through looking at these lines, and I turn to the director and I'm like, I've played a lot of villains. I've played murderers, I've played like monsters. This may be the most evil character I've ever voiced, just because it's a little girl and he's just so abusive to her.
Very spiteful.
Very spiteful is a good way to put it, yes. So, acting is about make-believe, and it's about, being able to sort of draw that line between reality and fantasy and try to bring it to life and embody it as best you can. But I would say it's, I don't know, I've gotten a chance to play a lot of characters like that in my career, so that was definitely a WTF,
Okay.
for sure.